Two Rivers Talks is brought to you by Two Rivers Biz Starts. Also by Two Rivers Main Street. And by Raleigh Point Economic Advising. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Welcome, everybody, to Two Rivers Talks. I'm Todd, and this is my great friend, Darla, and we are here to share with you all of the great things there are to know about the city of Two Rivers. If you're from Two Rivers, used to be from Two Rivers, or want to be from Two Rivers, what you'll find here is all the fun, music, arts, and more that you would care to know about our little corner of the world. In this episode, we are going to be talking about sharp, pointy objects. Actually, we're going to be talking about with Brittany Schultz, who's a licensed acupuncturist and founder and owner of Acupuncture by the Lake. And they offer Manitowoc and the surrounding areas affordable, non-invasive, and drug-free care with acupuncture and oriental medicine. And we are not just telling their story, but we're also customers. Well, at least Darla is. You've been out to have an appointment, and she's jabbed pointy objects into you.
Yes.
Yeah, very nice. Was it fun? Did you enjoy it?
I loved it. But I'm kind of a masochist at heart. But no, we interviewed her and recorded the interview just a couple days ago. But I was so intrigued by our conversation with her that I made an appointment and I went in yesterday. I was there yesterday and had my very first acupuncture visit. And I didn't know exactly. I mean, you kind of got an idea as to what to expect, but still, it's very, very different than what you would typically do on a day-to-day basis. And I'm getting older, and the arthritis is kicking in a little bit, and I do everything that I can for it. But I thought, well, why not? Let's try it and see if I can get some further relief from it. So it was like, as I like to say, it's poke and hope, so I don't say that a lot anymore. But anyway, so I was there. It was interesting, and it doesn't hurt. And actually, I left there feeling pretty darn good. So I've got a couple more appointments set up over the next couple of weeks, and because I figure I'm all in. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right. Just not one appointment and then base a decision. So I'll kind of keep you up to date as to the progress.
Yeah. And if you come on to the next show and you're kind of like twitch, we'll know what happened to you.
Yeah. No, I'm just like that naturally.
It
has nothing to do with the acupuncture. So
well, I think it's really neat that you tried them out, and I maybe at some point too. I don't really have a pressing need to go, for any kind of service like that. But she seemed really neat, and I think she shared some great insights about what she's doing. In fact, she does a lot of work for veterans.
Right.
That we learned in this conversation, which I guess is an area that some practitioners stay away from, but she really feels that it's important, and she's had good luck working with the VA.
Right. It is. If you have to work with the VA, it could be a paperwork nightmare, but she's willing to take the time and the effort to go that extra step for her veterans. And you'll see in the video that she gets pretty emotional about being able to treat them. That's a big deal for her. So, but she's the nicest woman, and she's funny, and she takes her time with you. It was just a really pleasant visit, and I wasn't rushed at all. Sometimes you go to the doctor and it's like they're not even listening to you when they ask you questions. Number one, and number two, they only spend like maybe a minute 45 seconds with you, and then they're out the door, and it's like, did you even hear me? With her, it was totally different. It was a great experience.
My dad had the best response for that. Whenever a doctor would talk really fast to him, he would say, "You're going to have to repeat that again slowly because I don't hear that fast."
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
You're gonna keep saying it until I totally get it, which, yeah,
Right.
that's
um,
funny. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say we also are going to be featuring in this episode the latest installment of How's It Hanging, right?
Right.
And that anything special you want to do as a teaser around that?
No. I will say it's
No.
wearable art. I was gonna add this on to our last episode, but it would have made it incredibly long. So I was like, no, 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 I'll wait until this one. And so for How's It Hanging, we'll show you kind of wearable art that's available right now at Basil's.
I love it. I love it.
I
That's
know.
terrific. Very good.
Bring your checkbook, Todd.
All right. All right. I'll dust it.
Darken my doorway.
I'll let the moths out of it.
Okay. All right. So it's that time of the day where we do word of the day.
Word of the day. Yes. Okay. Well, I love this part of the day because you try to stump me with a word that I've not heard of before. And
Right.
I got a pretty good vocabulary, but you fooled me on this one.
Okay.
I read it. So today's word of the day is metrophobia. 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 You may think, and I initially thought this as well, that this means a fear of big cities, but that's not it at all. You'd be wrong. I was wrong. In fact, metrophobia means an irrational or disproportionate fear of poetry.
Isn't that crazy?
That's awesome. I love it. So metro is obviously referring to metrics in poetry because all lines of poetry have metrics unless you're some kind of blank verse or free verse nitwit, that likes to do your poetry like that.
You're some sort of beatnik.
You're some kind of hippie. Hippie beatniks with their free verse. But even there's a beat to the poetry. That's therefore beatnik, right?
Right.
So
Right.
So used in a sentence so that you can sound smart at dinner parties, you could say, being forced to read John Donne's sonnets aloud in front of my English class gave me such a bad metrophobia that I can't even look at greeting card poetry without getting sweaty palms and a dry mouth.
I thought that was priceless. I just thought that was a good one.
I appreciate you dropping in the reference to John Donne, Renaissance poet, Cavalier poet to be precise.
He's what?
Cavalier poet. He was a Cavalier poet.
I don't even know what that is.
Ah, well, something for us to discuss the next time.
Okay. So on our next installment, Todd will describe Cavalier poetry.
Nothing but Renaissance poets.
Okay. I know nothing about him, so at least I'll learn something along with everyone else.
Talk a surprising amount of
Boy,
stuff
are we are such a fun couple.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. We're stimulated.
Speak for yourself. And
I do too often.
oh my gosh. It's been a long day, can everyone tell? Yeah. We're a little punchy. So anyway, up next is our interview with Brittany Schultz. And I feel like I'm going to cough. So everyone sit back, relax, enjoy, and we'll see you when we see you.
Thank you for having me. I've been looking forward to this.
Great. Well, I guess maybe to get started, could you tell our watchers a little bit about Acupuncture by the Lake, like how long you've been around and, what you do and
sure.
Why Two Rivers, right?
Yeah. So I'm originally from the Manitowoc Two Rivers area. I live in Two Rivers out in Point Beach. And I have been doing acupuncture. I started school in 2008. Before that, I had gone to chiropractic school. So my dad's a chiropractor. I grew up in a wellness model. And when I was going through chiropractic school, I really found that I was more interested in more holistic care. And while I love chiropractic and it served a large part of my life and a large purpose for me, I met some acupuncturists that really explained to me what they did. And so I started my journey into acupuncture school from there. I had a practice in Golden, Colorado for a few years, and I decided I had missed my family and I missed the area. So I decided to move back. I opened my practice in 2013. And really, I wanted to focus on whole body health and orthopedic pain. Darla and I were speaking previous to this, we live by the lake. So we have a lot of arthritis issues. We have a lot of people who have worked really hard and on their feet their whole life. So acupuncture has really served a great purpose for them coming into the area. I'm the only one. And I've really enjoyed bringing orthopedic acupuncture and holistic medicine to the area. So, we're located in Manitowoc. I do house calls as well, and I treat veterans. That's a really large part of my practice right now, as well as the community.
How did you get involved with helping veterans?
Right. So it's been a journey because the government is always kind of changing the way that they're evolving their healthcare. Right now, it's called community healthcare. So I signed on as a contracted provider that basically the patient goes to the doctor and says, I would like acupuncture. And they write basically a script. It goes to an agent down in Milwaukee. They get assigned a caseworker. And right now, they've switched kind of their format up where they get 12 treatments to start in a little over a 6-week period. So they can come in twice a week, which is just amazing. And then now they're doing rounds of 8 after that. So it's ever evolving, and you definitely need to hang with it. There's been some difficulty, I know, for a lot of practitioners, and some acupuncturists don't take veteran care. It's too difficult for them to keep on top of that. So I fight through it for my veterans, right? So my grandpa was a veteran back when he was drafted. He went to college a bunch so he could try and avoid the draft. But he developed hip pain. And when I was in acupuncture school, he was like my one-hit wonder. He'd always start hurting right before I'd come home. I'd treat him once, and then he was like miraculously better. No, that is not the case for pretty much anyone. But I think part of it is I'm his granddaughter and he loves me. But it really opened my eyes to what veterans see. Not only cognitively, I know we talk a lot about PTSD, but the physical toll that it takes on your body just in general, and then add injuries on top of that. So a lot of my veterans now I'm seeing are skewing younger, which I think is just great that younger veterans are seeking alternative care. And then my little old guys coming in, shuffling. They're some of my favorite patients because they don't have wives nagging them to come in. They've had the surgeries, the shots, the medications. They're just looking for comfortability and better range of motion, better quality of life. So I've really enjoyed that.
Well, I certainly appreciate, and I know Todd does too, the fact that you're really looking out for our vets. And I was in the military, and back when I was in, they never would, acupuncture. No way. Even back then, chiropractors were not viewed with anything less than suspicion. They were less of a doctor, but for chiropractors and acupuncturists, I think that in some instances you understand the human body as much or perhaps more than traditional healers.
Right.
Obviously they understand the systems and what makes us tick and all this, but it just seems like, especially with acupuncture, you have to be so specific,
Right.
and so it's a different type of approach, and I know I'm ready to try it. Uh, getting older, arthritis, and like you were talking about being in the military, I jumped out of things and I jumped off of things, and my one foot is just, it's the bones are just mush. And I get
Mhm.
cortisone shots and they do help, but I don't want to that's not something that I want to continue to do, you
Right.
know. I'd rather try something. I'd rather, and the thing is, in my own life, I'm branching out as the way I view health. Um, I Todd, I do try the yoga thing. Um, Basically, once I'm down on the ground, I'm there for life. So it's,
I
but
understand. I'm a yoga teacher.
oh,
So
are you really?
what yeah, so once you bring people down, you're not gonna get back up.
That's,
Sometimes I'm cruel and I make them, but yeah, you're right.
just give me a pillow and just turn off the lights. Everything's good, you know.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so true, right?
But but it's something I'm willing to try now. Years ago, I would have said, "Are no way, that's not for me. It's
Right.
that's stupid," you know. And but it's not, and I think it's worth a try. We talked about, you're gonna have to help me. Ashwagandha.
Ashwagandha. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's
And
so many herbs that
right.
were here before time.
And but you figure, in Western medicine, where did our traditional medications or even stuff that they're developing now, where does it come from?
Right.
You
A lab.
know, so, but originally, but medicine in general was like, hey, wait a second, that really helped for my headache. Let's put it in pill form, and now it's just evolved into just synthetics,
Right.
pretty much. But I take herbs for various different things, and it's almost like, to me, they're not miracle drugs,
Mhm.
but they're surprisingly effective,
Yeah.
more than I expected. So, um, I think it's worth a try, and I think acupuncture, I would love to try it because I know that I need it.
Right.
I need assistance. God, I sound old, don't
No, you don't. I mean, anything you can stack in your favor, right? Like
Right,
that's why I love working with people and their doctors because like anything you can do to make things better, right? So
right,
I have those people who are like, well, I want to see what works if I just do this or if I just do this on its own. And that's fine. I mean, some people's minds work that way. I'm like, I'm going to do it all so that I can just be better. But,
right,
some people have that very, like, they have to pick apart what is working. So
right.
I accommodate them all.
Well, I
Mhm.
think that's great. Do you experience any pushback from traditional Western physicians?
I was going to ask that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an
Yeah. So
interesting
that's
question.
a great question. So like you had talked about chiropractors. So my dad, was an 80s chiropractor and there was a lot of pushback for him. So I grew up in a household that was definitely like no medical doctors. And I was like a sympathizer, right? Because like I'm the next generation. So my goal was to work with people and their doctors. And I have found literally zero pushback because I think doctors are so overwhelmed. Like I've understood the history of how their medicine has evolved and the pressure that has been put on them by so many agencies of insurance and pharmaceuticals and stuff like that. And what I find is that, especially the younger generations of medical practitioners, PAs, and other physicians, they really have learned that whatever people can do to help themselves, like they're for it. Oh, if that helps your sciatic, do that. Oh, if you feel like that lowers your stress and anxiety, do that. So I've really appreciated kind of the next gen. Also, the flip side is I'm a third generation American acupuncturist. So my teachers learned directly from people who were coming from China and Japan and Korea to practice in America. And so you have some of those medical doctors that are just about ready to retire now, but they saw some of the first acupuncturists come over. And so they have some pretty cool stories. I mean,
Sure.
now we have like disposable needles and it's one time use and get rid of, but you used to have to autoclave them and straighten them. So I'm glad like I was not of that age. But yeah, it's been very positive from practitioners and even chiropractors. I get a ton of referrals from chiropractors as well. So it's really great to work, with our community in that way.
Great.
So you had mentioned when somebody first starts coming that maybe not in their first couple of visits do they start to see much difference.
Right.
What kinds of things do people start to notice once they've entered a program of acupuncture with you?
Right. So we go through a stabilization process. So acupuncture in and of itself is not some sort of miracle or magic. It's a way to create balance in your body. So when we talk about the way that we're looking, Darla had mentioned more holistic, we're looking at organ systems. Everybody's got a job. And when there's imbalance, you start to get pain and degeneration and dysfunction. So when someone comes in and they say, let's say I have headaches, I have high stress, and I have irregular periods, and I'm bloated all the time and I can't sleep. So right away I'm thinking the liver, meridian. I'm going to do points on that. And the liver is really responsible for, when we look at Western medicine, filtering, right? That's what our liver does. It filters things down. But in Chinese medicine, it really regulates the stress system as well, hormonal balance. And so when people have headaches, we're looking at that. So the flip side is that liver is overactive. And the pair to that is the kidney meridian. It's kind of like the water to the fire. And when people burn at both ends of the candles, that starts to dwindle. So in the type of acupuncture I practice, it's all about building that base. And a lot of times those symptoms will come down. Oh, my periods are getting more regular. I'm only having 2 headaches versus 7. I got 8 hours of sleep versus 4. So that's what we're looking to see when someone comes in. It's not an instant like I'm no longer stress free and I sleep all through the night. It's starting to say, okay, what is the regularity or irregularity of things? What can you expect? You came in with this and now it's that. So I say any amount of change is a good amount of change. Same goes with pain, right? Someone comes in, it's an 8 out of 10. Maybe after 2 treatments, it's a 6 out of 10. And then all of a sudden, it's not right where it used to be. It's kind of moving. So I see that type of thing too, where it's like, when I go up the stairs, it's not hurting anymore. So that's what we're looking for.
Well, there is no magic bullet. Even with prescriptions, you might get temporary, fantastic relief. That's not going to last. And I think for what
All
you're
right.
doing, it's cumulative and you have to stay with it, but it's going to get things, like you said, back into balance.
Right.
I know, like right now, I'm so glad we're interviewing you because you will definitely be seeing me. I've done all of this research on myself, or by myself rather,
Right.
um, for some things that I'm experiencing, and I know it has to do with age and my hormone levels are goofy, but it's throwing everything out of whack. And what I have kind of through all of my reading, and I probably don't know what I'm talking about, and I'm not trying to self-diagnose, but it's like what could it possibly be? And
Right.
I've kind of got it down to adrenal fatigue.
Which is
So,
very common. I mean, we live in America. We're always running on high.
right.
And that's where you're looking for things to calm your nervous system, and that's really what acupuncture does too, is it takes it down a notch.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are you doing on Monday? No, I'm kidding. I'll call your office.
You can call or text or
Okay.
Facebook Messenger.
Okay. Make space for me on your calendar.
So when you talk about adrenal fatigue, way back when China, they didn't have all the labs and the tests. So much of it was by observation, which I think is just so amazing because we think we live in like a bubble and that the weather doesn't affect us and that indoor plumbing and lighting and modern technology, but it really does. And back when we talk about like the adrenals, they didn't know that there were adrenals. So we kind of lump that in Chinese medicine to the kidney meridian.
Okay.
And that's burning at both ends of the candle, right? And we look to build you up. I mean, that's pretty much what's going on right now is everyone's really stressed out, especially right now, whether you're involved or you're not. There's kind of this cumulative stress. So about 80, 90 years ago, the French found that the ear, there were points, and it's almost like a curled up baby where your head is down here and the feet, come around. And you can actually tap right into the nervous system, the two sides, the sympathetic, which is your hyperdrive, run from the tiger, right? Fight or flight, or the parasympathetic, which is your rest, digest, and heal. And so I'll do ear points. And I learned from a phenomenal teacher, Michael Young, who was, we had to draw out the ear every week and the points. So it was pretty cool to have learned under him. But it's almost like we call it acu-stoned. Like people get up and they're like, whoa, like we just kind of took them down a notch. Yeah, I said, don't just run out to your car and drive away. Like sit here for a little while or take a walk around the block, right?
That's awesome.
But when you're running on your adrenal, glands all the time too, the hormonal imbalance really comes. And we can talk about more about this when you come in, because I get into brain stuff, the anterior pituitary and hormonal release, especially for women. Then you start to involve the ovaries and the liver and the adrenals and, the thyroid. So a lot of women and men, experience, especially when you turn 40, a lot of stuff happens in your body. Everything kind of halves in a way. And people keep running the same story, especially now. I think it's important that people acknowledge that being proactive about your health is such a huge step in change of consciousness right now. And I'm seeing that in my office is that people, they don't necessarily want to do the face-to-face doctor things. They want to go into someone. I had one guy, he has chronic sinus issues and ear infections. And he said, I'm not going to pay hundreds of dollars to be on the phone interview for the Z-Pack or whatever. He's like, can you do something for me? So we got him going on some herbs and I treated the immune system and we did some local points and, he's doing great, so he came in religiously to get treatment to bring down that inflammation and to try and change things. So we're starting to see that shift. It used to be 70-30, with mostly women, but now it's definitely a 50-50 hard split, which is great.
So what are your ailments, Todd?
Definitely many. Stress. I notice like most of my stress comes out in like skin issues, like dermatitis kind of stuff and things like that. So I would suspect that acupuncture can probably help us in things like that.
Right. So dermatitis is an interesting one because it moves. It's never in the same place twice. So the Chinese coined that like a windy type symptom. So I actually have an herb for kind of dermatitis stuff. It's really interesting because then you start to involve, so versus like the liver and kidney, that is the large intestine and the lung more. Because it disperses and, brings fluids to the tissues and oxygen, and then your large intestine, gut, right? So we see a lot of skin issues in America, and it is very much directly related to diet and then hormones, right? Because one affects the other. I know when I was pregnant with my son, my skin was just like so horrible. And it was hormone related and probably based on the fact I was so sick the whole time is whatever I could get in my stomach, I would eat, So you definitely see a lot of skin issues, and we live in the Midwest too. It's damp. So we have a lot of particulates that like to settle on our skin. So I enjoy treating eczema, dermatitis, psoriasis. I've seen one of my patients, we took progressive pictures and she had some eczema patches, and we just did immune system and skin points, and it went away, and she had it all over her body. So it was pretty cool to see that change.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I grew up in Western Pennsylvania and had some really fairly severe hay fever allergies, dust and pollution kind of allergies.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, growing up, I grew up taking like allergy medications, just to
Sure.
keep from sneezing my head off. But since moving to the Midwest, it seems like it's manifested in different ways. I'm much more likely to have like a sneezing attack or something in the morning, and then be okay the rest of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Or like the skin issues and stuff. That's come up as I've gotten older. With that but the other stuff, like sort of like having a day where I'm like constantly stuffy headed and sneezing, and that happens very rarely to me now. So it's like it's interesting how these kinds of chronic things just kind of change and evolve over time.
Right.
As you get older.
Yeah.
You're getting up there, Todd.
I am.
You're right behind me. You're gaining.
That's what my patients say. They're like, "Don't get old." I'm like, "I'm trying not to every day."
Yeah, that's wise.
But if you there's a saying, if you rest, you rust. And that is so true. And sometimes it's so nice just to be able to sit on your couch and work on that divot, so where you're just relaxed and, just let the world go by. But the thing is that you got to get up and move around. Otherwise, you're going to pay for your lounging later on,
Right.
and just eat right, stay hydrated. And that's a hard one for me because, experts say that you're supposed to drink like a swimming pool full of water every day. That's what it seems like to me. It's so much
Right.
that I can't even do it. But and like with your acupuncture and like with chiropractors, anything you could do to help yourself
Mm-hmm.
and stave off a lot of the inevitable. I mean,
Right.
our bodies are only meant to last for so long, but just be kind to yourself and just do what you can for yourself, and then the rest of it you could seek help. Um,
Right.
but you can't just rely on a doctor or if I didn't take care of myself, coming to see you would be a band-aid.
Right.
You know, that didn't sound right. I'm so sorry,
Well,
but
no, like you have to put in the work too. I tell my patients, like, you can come in and get treated and it will help, but I can't eat better for you. I can't nurture relationships, and I can't take naps for you, So, I mean, I'd like to,
yeah,
but it's really about taking care of yourself. Self-care, right? That's like a really big thing right now, self-care.
right.
And self-care doesn't necessarily mean, laying on the couch. Read a book, treat yourself to a foot bath, like little things that add up over time because they make you happy. And when you're happy, you're healthier.
Absolutely. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. I'm pretty ecstatic. What about you, Todd?
I'm living the dream.
Far
No, I
out.
think that's excellent advice, Brittany, and
Thank you.
I think something we all need to kind of remind ourselves of on a regular basis. And so, thank you for being a voice of care in the community. And
Absolutely.
and if somebody's interested in learning more about acupuncture or getting in contact with you, what kinds of things would you suggest they need to do?
Right. So I'm located in Manitowoc, Wisconsin. I have a website, acubythelake.com, ACU bythelake.com. So you can go there, you can read about me. I have some videos and I'm always uploading content. If you're a veteran, you can definitely get a hold of me too. If you want to get a hold of your provider, say, here's Brittany's info. I want to go see her. That's really how easy it is if you're a veteran. If you're just looking for, like Darla's talking about, some issues, or maybe Todd, right? You can call me at 920-629-6126. Or if you're on Facebook, Acupuncture by the Lake, and you can send me a message through there. So a lot of ways to contact me. So yeah.
Well, that's great. And thank you again for helping out our vets and making sure that they are able to receive the care that other people are, can uh, can receive. And I just think that's tremendous. That
Thank
just makes
you.
me feel really good.
Yeah, it's so wonderful. I mean, I look forward to them every day because everyone deserves care, but definitely an underserved community. I'm just so glad that especially the Vietnam veterans have fought for the right for them to get care elsewhere. So I get
That's
all
right.
teary-eyed because it really is. It's this like really big thing that has come about, and I just feel so proud to be on the forefront of that.
Wonderful. It was so nice to meet you, and I'll be seeing
Yeah.
you here in the near future.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
You bet. Everyone deserves care. That's a great message to end on. Thanks again for joining
Thanks.
us.
Bye-bye.